I understand you're picking up some little pieces of intelligence about what might come at first light tomorrow.
Yeah, sources telling us that there seems to be some significant migrant activity on the other side of the channel across the northwest France coast there, especially between Calais and Dunkirk, this hotbed of activity that every time that conditions start to improve in the channel, you get a surge coming from those beaches. And this, I think, Nigel, is going to be a real big tester for the French authorities, because following the tragic deaths of 27 people in that incident mid-channel last month, on the same day that we were out on the water in a boat in the middle of the channel as well, and spoke to another boat that had come across from the same stretch of beach. There was that almighty row between the French President Emmanuel Macron and Boris Johnson, finger pointing in both directions. Well, the French have said that they are stepping up patrols on their beaches, so let's just see tomorrow how many of these small boats they managed to prevent from leaving their shores. We saw more than 30 people arrive today, as you said, not many at all, and the first time that we've seen migrants arriving in the UK for about 10 days now, just because of the appalling weather conditions in the channel. But of course we know that every time that those conditions improve, then the people smugglers are pushing these small flimsy boats out onto the water.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right, Mark. And in the past, you know, you and I have really pushed very hard over the last few months to say this is a massive issue, it's going to get bigger, and we've been proved right. Because politically, in many parts of the country, it's been up at the top of the list. The rest of the media have tried their best to ignore it, but have now been following it. Are the broader media, now anticipating what will come tomorrow?
Yes, and interestingly, our local producer down here said that he'd noticed quite a few members of the wider media down here today, obviously like us, anticipating the potential for more small boats to try to make that crossing in what, as I say, will be the first real test of authorities on both sides since that tragedy. We had a day or two after the tragedy about 100 coming across in 3 boats, but really there hasn't been the big surge in boats that we saw on that day when those 27 people lost their lives. There are some other pieces of information going around in terms of the efforts to try to deal with this crisis. We know, for instance, that the British government is now going to be commandeering part of the Ministry of Defence site at Manston to put together a new processing centre that's there specifically, Nigel, to look at trying to identify those who we know, of course, are told by the people smugglers to throw away their identifying documents. So when they come to this country, it's very difficult indeed for the authorities to try to get a handle on who exactly they are, where they're from, what potential threat they might pose. So this new centre, a secure centre, will be up and running to allow a week or so for authorities to try to delve into the background of these individuals.